Hello and welcome to Campus TV. This is Janvi Sahabani reporting from JNC. Today we have here with us Dr. Nagalakshmi Chaudhary, the chairperson of Karnataka State Women's Commission, and she's even a renowned dentist. Welcome, ma'am.
Hi, I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, ma'am. Among your personal experiences and values, what made you join this field, like the women, helping women basically?
See, every woman is a born leader. Only thing is, she should get opportunity and support. That's it. And I got it. That's through my father when I was young, and after I was married through my husband. So, yeah, and probably the leadership was there in me from the childhood itself. So I got, even though I became a doctor, but my passion pulled towards public life. And now, yeah, I am Karnataka State Women Commission chairperson.
That's so amazing. You've always emphasized how important education and awareness of our own rights are and how essential they are. So, are there any other characters essential, like society factors or something like
Uh, I purely consider economical empowerment is more important. That happens most of the time through education. And yeah, education became my strength. See, when you are studying, when in a professional college, it will not only give you education, it will not only make you educated, it not only gives you graduation, but it molds you as a personality. That's what my school and college gave me. During school, I contested. I every elections we had elections for leadership. So from fifth standard till 10th standard, I contested every election and I won as a first leader. Then I joined my dentistry. I went to I went to an hostel where all were among different states. I was very poor in speaking English, and I was very scared. I was homesick and whatnot. I was dependent, but the hostel life and the college gave me changed my total personality. And of course, I married a person who don't um, belong to this region, Bangalore region. He's from North Karnataka. So completely a different culture, environment, climate, everything. So overall, all these made me to become more stronger in my life.
that? While working in the Women's Commission, what impacts have you seen? Like the positive impacts that you've seen through your work?
I became emotionally more stronger, mentally more strengthened, because Women Commission is for the women who is under violence, who's been every day tortured with domestic violence, who's been a victim of um, any other societal factors. From the morning 7 o'clock, your phone rings. The first call, she cries. The time you leave home, she comes and she says how she's been suffering with her husband or somebody who is like that for 8 years, living relationship, and finally he says, I don't want to get married. It's equal to a rape. It's a cheating case. And sh- the man would have married earlier and he comes and marry this another woman saying that this is first marriage and she would never know it. After a few months or years, she'll come to know that he's already been married and having children. By the time it will be too late for her to go back. She would have, sometimes he would have done a register marriage also with the second girl. She would have been having a child, she would be pregnant. What not I can tell. I need a day. How? And there's so many women in this land who don't have main amenities like drinking water, food, school, college. a healthy environment, not even a house. So you need to be the voice of those. And when you keep hearing, I feel these are all, not a positive things, it's all negatives. You need to be very strong to give them the justice, to be their voice, to remove their pain and suffering. So that made me more stronger, which I got through Women Commission Chairperson. I travel 20 days in a month across my state, and I try to speak to the authority and help the woman who is in need. And whether it may be police or any kind of department, I speak to that concerned authority and see my best to wipe her tears, to make her smile, to make her leave, to empower her. And it gives me content, it makes me happy, it gives me a lot of satisfaction.
When it comes to the impacts that you've seen, we did discuss the personal impacts, but would you like to talk about the societal impacts that you've seen?
See, I feel still we have a long way to get equality. You name it, it may be my home or your home, every home, we still are not fully empowered, or not fully we enjoy equality. Society need to change, means that is our men has to change, and even women for that matter. My mother-in-law is a woman, right? So everybody's mindset has to change. She has to accept me as a daughter. The day she accepts me as a daughter, and the day we teach our sons that daughters are equal from the time they are born, it is the mother who tells the boy or the girl that it is your work, that is, you have to behave like this, you have to wear like this, you need not to show your body, you need to come at this time, you have to be aware, you need to be everything. It is a deep insight in us which has been seeded from our mother itself. So all these need to change. We have to go along the way, and I always feel we need to empower more and more women every day, especially economic empowerment. If she's economically empowered, independency will come. Equality, she will strive for it. If there is no equality, she'll kick that house, she'll get out, she'll live her life. It is what matters is economical empowerment. I will always say, for a woman, it is like a second oxygen. The air we breathe is the first, like that, the money she has in her purse is the second. So I wish if all the women have enjoy economical empowerment, and I'm sure she'll take care of her health, mental health, physical health, and all the health. And we're not slaves. We're not slaves, and we've been a slave from the history. And people say that no, 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 this is how it is the nature. This is how it is. I don't agree with that. Yes, nature has made us mother. That does not mean we are slaves. Okay. We need love, we need care, we need shoulders. The way we care them, they also are supposed to care us equally. And I think that house is heaven. I think men and women both enjoy their life and they'll have a longevity. I don't know when they will understand this.
I just have one last question for you.
Yeah.
When it comes to female feticide and everything, it is a grave issue right now, and has been for a really long time. So, is there any steps or things that the Commission is doing to tackle this problem at its root?
Unfortunately, we call it as growing country, developing nation, forward thinking, but it proves us wrong when we see the percentage of female feticide happening. I saw a survey, I read a book where it says 600 lakh female child has been aborted in the mother's womb before they're born. So we have a strict laws. We don't lack laws, but the corruption bends his head, makes the law to surrender. That's why we are not able to control. It's a time to wage a war. Wage a war, not only the government, not only the police, we, the society, equally are responsible to stop this. So the time we all will get into this stopping female feticide, I think then we can end. We cannot blame only the government or the police. We are equally responsible as a society. See, when a mother is taken to the hospital to do the feticide, husband is involved. Sometimes mother-in-law is involved. Mother herself has no say because she is not economically empowered. All these factors, it is not the one. We cannot blame the men. I've seen at the hospitals when I visit child and mother and child hospital, I've seen mother-in-law has strictly stopped her son to meet the daughter-in-law who has given the second birth a female girl child. I've seen them crying. Husband doesn't come to do a signature in the hospital just because a female baby was born. So everybody has to involve here to bring a change to stop female feticide. Otherwise, one day it is it is a path to destruction. Probably in the urban area, the thoughts have been changed, but in rural areas, the belief system is the first child should be a son. Or otherwise, okay, first girl, no problem. Second one means they tell you live in your husband house, don't come. Third one, again they'll give a chance. They will not take you at all. So it's a very unfortunate thing in our country. But then it's all of us have to fight against this to stop female feticide. Yeah, please.
Your thoughts?
See, it is not illegal or legal. See, if sometimes what happens, below 18 years girl, 16-year girl is being, or she willingly have an intercourse, or she's been raped, she'll become pregnant. After 24 weeks, you can't abort her. It is a life-threatening situation. But now Supreme Court has given an order that if she doesn't, I mean, before if 24 weeks, if she wishes that she doesn't want a baby, she can go for abortion. And it is her choice.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Janvi Sahabani with video journalist Poorna, Bhanupriya and Sanskriti signing off Campus TV.